All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD1100 Programming Fundamentals with C# course, I've been doing a series of video presentations that are based on the PowerPoint slides of the textbook we're using for the class, that being Muroc C# 7th edition, which you see on your screen right now. And I have gone through the material in sections 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I have just finished lecturing on Chapter 19, an Introduction to Database Programming. That said, I want to go through an actual example with you. And again, I am using for this example, I'm not sure if this is going to be the best resource in the world to use, but it's the one I chose. So let's see. And it's right here. In fact, you don't need any of that, of course. So it's from a site that's called C# Corner. So it's c-sharp-corner.com/article/connect-mySQL-with-C-Visual-Studio-2019. I've got a hard copy of it, but I'm going to be working off of what's on here. So it says, in this article, we will learn how to connect a MySQL database with the C#.NET framework. This is a foundational hands-on article that will help beginners. All right. Now, I have already gone out to the website. All right, I'm going to keep adding to this one, I guess. I've already gone out to the website ApacheFriends.org, and I have downloaded the software package that's called Zamp. Some call it XAMPP, some call it Zamp. And what it has in there is what is referred to as the LAMP structure. Do you have to worry about it? Not a bit. But it has MySQL in it. That's what you have to be cognizant of. Now, there's also another one that's called Wamp Server. I thought there was one just called Wamp, but maybe there isn't anymore. So let's see, there's Wamp Server. There's just Wamp. All right, but I'm going to grab this one that we had just had here for Wamp Server. And the only difference between Wamp Server and XAMPP is basically they're similar types of products. Zamp will work on any platform, and Wamp Server, I believe at least, is set up for Windows. That doesn't mean that you can't run it on a Mac. Some of these, for instance, the one we're going to look at in a minute is MAMP, which was set up, at least initially, to run on a Mac or an Apple machine. But there is a version for Windows as well. We're going to be concentrating just on this one, but there are others. That's what I want to get across to you. All right. What I will do when we get to this point in the class is I will take my Apache Friends that I have loaded. I will uninstall it, reinstall it along with you so you can watch me go through all the steps and you can do the same yourselves. When you bring Zamp or XAMPP up, it's going to look like this. All right, that's what's called the Zamp control panel right there. I realize it might be a little hard to see. It doesn't help really to make it bigger because you can see this is what we're working with. All right. Now, when we are sitting there and we are working with this, there's two things that we want to turn on. Okay. We don't really care, to be honest with you, in this class about FileZilla, Mercury, or Tomcat, but we want to click the Start for Apache, and we want to click the Start for MySQL. When you click those, if they go from, let me stop them, if these turn green here and here, they're both up and running. and that's what you're looking for. All right. If you have a problem getting them to run, okay, then I will have to work with you on getting that to work. All right. So what's next? Well, next, what we want to do is we want to start up a product that you work with this, and that product is called or is referred to as PHP MyAdmin. Now, there's different ways that you can bring PHP MyAdmin up on your screen. I'm going to show you what I consider to be the easiest way of doing this. So with your Apache up and running and your MySQL up and running, right next to the Stop by MySQL, there's a button there that says Admin. If you click the admin, not the one for Apache, but if you click the admin for MySQL, it brings up it brings up PHP MyAdmin. There it is. I think you can also type in this address right here that it actually came up on. So I think you can also type in this. So let me start moving this stuff down. So localhost PHP MyAdmin I think will work. Let's try a couple of these. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of this now and this now. And in here I'll just type in localhost -PHP MyAdmin. And you can see it brings it up there. You can also type in what's called the loopback address for your computer, which should be 127.0.0.1/PHP MyAdmin. That should also work. So I now have PHP MyAdmin up and running. Now I've been using this for quite a while. I've got a bunch of stuff in here. You don't have to worry about what any of it is. All right. But what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to create a new database that's called Rankin. Okay. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on where it says databases. And it shows me all the ones that I have. And it also says I can create a new one. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do virtually everything I do will be in lowercase, just so you know. But I'm going to type in Rankin, R-A-N-K-E-N, and I'm going to click Create. And it says, hey, I created a database for you called Rankin. And if you look over here, there's now a Rankin. And it says, hey, there are no tables in this database. So in other words, it's just an empty table. All right. Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to end up modifying what I do just so you know. But I'm going to say that I want to create a new table right there. So what's the name of the table going to be? It's going to be called Instructors. Sound familiar? And initially, but we're going to end up changing it around a little bit, but we're going to have 3 columns in there. So we're going to have a table inside of Rankin that's called Instructors. I'm going to click Go. Now, all right, I should have this. And sometimes this is a little wonky, just so you know. So what I'm going to do is, it says my database is Rankin, so I should be good. So it asks me here, what do I want to add? And actually, I want to add a column. So where it says add 1 column, I'm going to click Go. I want 4 things. The first thing I want to put in here is something that's just going to be called ID. This is going to be my primary key or my unique record identifier. It will be an integer. We don't care about the length or any of this stuff that's in here. But we do want to set one more thing in here, and that is, I'm just grabbing this scroll bar down here and going over where it says AI. That's not artificial intelligence. That's auto increment. So the first instructor we put in will be number 1, the second will be number 2, etc. So there's the first thing. Now I want to put in the fields, and I'm going to put in 3 of them. The first one is going to be called first underscore name. And it will not be an int like the ID was. It will be what's called a varchar. So when you start looking in here, notice the second one that comes in there is a varchar. So it says, well, how big do you want it to possibly be? If I say 25, that should be big enough, I would think. I don't know if too many people would have a first name more than 25 characters. All right. Then I'm going to make another field, and it's going to be called last underscore name. It will also be a varchar. It will also be of size 25. Now, you'll notice when you look in here, there's a thing that says null. I'm not going to select null for any of these except the last one, which I'm about to put in. Let's assume we just hired a new instructor, okay? But we do not yet know what department that new instructor will be in. So we have this table of instructors, and each instructor has an ID, a first name, a last name, and a department. For the department, it'll also be a varchar, and we'll make that 50. But it is possible that we hire someone in that has a vast array of knowledge, and when we hire him or her in, we don't know yet what department they will be working in. So we will allow null for the department. So now we've come in, we created a new database called Rankin, and we gave it a new table called instructors. All right, and we gave it each instructor ID, first name, last name, and department. All right, so when I do all that, if I go down to the bottom and I click save, first I can click preview SQL. This is what it's writing for me. Don't worry right now about what that means. All right, but I'm going to click the save. And now I do have a new table in here that's called instructors. You can see it. And I can come in and start entering data if I want to. All right. But let's assume that I have 200 instructors. And with a lot of them, for their department, it'll be general education. And after a while, I'm writing general education, general education, general education. And I spelled general wrong. Or education, or both. Or somebody puts something in as gen ed. Well, now that isn't the way I want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to go to this department one here, and I'm going to click change. All right. And instead of it being a varchar of size 50, I'm going to change this to department underscore number. And I'm going to make it an integer. And I'll make it of size 11, which is a common size for this. And I'm going to click save. So now I have changed this, as you can see. All right. And let's make one more change to this. Let's not allow nulls anymore. So let's go back over to here, and where we've got this null, okay, I'm going to get rid of those. So there you go. So now I have one table in here, no data yet, but I have one table. Why did I do that? Why did I change that from department, or it could have been called department name, to department number? I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add another new table. All right. And this first one, in fact, the name of the table will be department. We'll call it departments, and it'll have in it 2 columns. The first one will be called ID. All right. It will be an integer field. This will be very similar to what we saw before. And we want to move over in here. I don't know why it's not letting me, but it's not. We do not want to allow in here. We do not want to allow, there we go. So where are we? We do not want to allow nulls. Okay? And so we came in here. Now we could call this, as we did, ID, which is totally fine. We could call it department number. We could call it dep num, etc. But I'm going to leave it with ID. And I'm going to change the name of this to department underscore name. This is going to be a varchar, and we're going to make it 50. Okay? And I'm going to click down here under the save. So I now have two tables in here. All right? And I'm going to start adding data to my new tables. Now, I'm going through this kind of quickly. I'm not explaining a whole heck of a lot as we're going on, because I want to just give you an overall picture of what's going on here. All right? So I'm going to assume we have about 10 departments. All right? So what I want to do is I want to start adding in data. So I'm going to click on my departments table. And again, like I said, I want to start adding data in here. All right? Well, how do I add data in there? All right, so we've come in, we've created the table, two tables actually. All right, and now we want to start putting in some data. Now there might be another way of doing it than the way I'm going to show you, but this is how I learned. So I'm going to click SQL right there. All right, and I'm going to come in and basically I want to do an insert. So I want to insert into departments. All right, I don't need to put in the ID because it's an auto, because it's supposed to be an auto increment field, but I don't think I made it one. So let's get out of this. So I'm going to go back here to departments, my departments table. All right, and I'm going to look at the structure. And as we talked about before, more. I want this to be, well, two things about it. Number one, I want it to be a primary key. Do you really want to execute alter add primary key ID? Yes. That's the first thing. So it's now a primary key. And I want to click this change, and I want to make it an auto increment field. All right. So now it's primary key with auto increment. Okay. Now, before I forget, I want to go back to instructors. And you'll notice that with instructors, if I click structure, it's an auto increment, and we made it a primary key when we first did it. So that's already set up correctly. All right. So I'm going to go back to departments, and I'm going to go to SQL, and I'm going to go to insert. Okay. And I don't need this ID. Now, sometimes people get confused. What are these backticks? You don't need them. You do not need them. Unless, let's say I had a department that was called general education, something that was going to be, instead of calling this department, I wanted to call it department name. So I wanted to say, really insert into department name. If I have it like this, If I have 2 words with a space between, then I need those backticks. If it's just 1 word, I don't need the backticks. I can get rid of them. All right, so I can get rid of these. In fact, I don't need any of this in here. And I can type in values, and I'm going to hit enter. Now, I'm going to put in here, I'm making these departments up. So let's see. Let's just think about what we'd want in here, okay? General education, electronics, information technology, application and website development. Let's see, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come in here and type in programs offered at Rankin Technical College. Careers, Rankin fall classes start. Schedule a tour. Well, here's some. So automotive, architecture, plumbing, construction, electrical. Oops. I've got electronics. Let's make that electrical. Construction. What else is there? Manufacturing. That's probably enough. So how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we'll add one more. Diesel. So we're assuming right now these are the 10 different departments that we have at Rankin Technical College. Okay? All right. So come in here. I'm going to grab all 10 of those. And I'm going to see if I can put them in at one time into my database. And it's been a while since I've worked on this, so if I get an error, just laugh at me. So I'm going to put in here general education, comma. Can I tab that at once? Yep. Electrical, information technology. Now I could have put this in alphabetic order. I'm just not. Application and website development. It might have made more sense to put it in alphabetic order, but I didn't. Automotive, architecture, plumbing, construction, manufacturing, and diesel. Now, it is possible that the syntax I used to put this in is wrong. You may have to put them in each in their own set of parentheses, or etc. This may be wrong when I try to put this in a minute. But I'm going to see it's not showing me any errors, so I'm going to click the button down here that says Go. And it says I've got errors. Column count doesn't match count at row 1. All right, department name. So in other words, what I put in there, and I'm going to take this retain query box because that's going to save everything for me as I'm working on this. So putting that in, go back to SQL, and let's try it again. All right, so with these values, I'm going to try to put each one in their own set of parentheses and see if that changes it. Now this is going to look a little funky, but I'm trying to hurry here. All right, so and this still may not work. All right, but I've got to go back and review this stuff. If I don't do it, you don't do it, you lose it. So I'm trying to do it like that. Now notice everything has been put in parentheses. Let me click again. I should have my retain query box checked. Go. Still doesn't like it. Column count doesn't match value count at row 1. There's 1. This is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, etc. So how to add multiple records inserts in PHP MyAdmin. And I'm going to show an example. Oh, it's insert into. Okay, insert. I don't know if I put that in there. Then the values. All right. It is. That's what I have. Insert into departments, department name, values. So let's go back and look again. It may be that rather than, I don't know why this would give me an error, but it could be it. Click Get Auto Saved to load the query. Where's Get Auto Saved? All right, I'm going to go in. Don't know if it'll let me do this. Brother. I'm going to try changing all of these double quotes to single quotes. Now it's giving me a bunch of errors right now because I have a beginning single quote and an ending double quote. So as I put these in, those errors should go away. All right, now I'm just going to grab this. I think it's easier to do it like this. I'm going to try running it again. I don't want that. Still didn't work. Column count doesn't match value count at row 1. Insert into departments, department name, values. We should not have to put in the ID because with the ID, we made the ID an auto increment field, so we should not have to add that. We've got department name. I'm trying to figure out why this is incorrect. Insert into departments, department name, values. All right, I'm coming up on 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for just a moment and see if I can figure out what the problem is, and then I'll come right back. All right, I took just a second, and I want to grab this. Don't worry about this. This is an example they have. Insert into this. Okay, that values. All right, the problem may be as simple as I don't put in a parenthesis here, and I don't put in a parenthesis here, but I do put an ending one in here. All right, let's try to run that. And that was it. How do I know whether or not this worked? Well, I can come back in here and I can tell it select star from departments. That says show me everything that's in the departments table. And if I click OK, there it is. There are my 10 different departments right there. All right. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add those employees that I had before. And we'll actually add an employee in each department. All right. So let me just leave that the way it is. So let's go over to our instructors table. And now that we hopefully know how to do this, we're going to click Insert into Instructors. Again, we don't need any of these backticks. We don't need the ID because it's an auto increment. We need the first name, the last name, and the department number. And then values. So we're going to put in here the first one. And I believe that was, oh, let's look. Okay, this is another one that I've been working on, so. Let's see. In fact, that was right here. There's my instructors file. There they are. All right. So these are the guys or people I'm going to add right now. All right. Again, the order in which you do these is not that important. So I'm going to have first Charles, Corrigan, information, information technology. All right, and I'm going to add a whole bunch more. I'm like I said. Don't worry that I'm adding the same one over and over. Whoops, I don't want to run that. That was stupid on my part. All right, let's do it again. Select, no, I want to do an insert. Wish I hadn't done that. I'm going to just leave all that the way it is because it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Except I don't need the ID. All right. In fact, let's do it. I have a fast way of doing it that just came to my mind. Let's do it like this. We've got this thing opened already. right, the only other thing I want to do here then is put a paren at the beginning here of each one of these. And one at the end with a comma on the end. And I'm going to add a couple more records in here in just a minute. Somehow I lost my comma. All right, let's add one more record. We've only got two of the departments in here. Let's change this to electrical. Okay. And I'm making this stuff up. These aren't real people. So we got Mary Johnson. Let's do Susan Jones, and we'll say that Susan is in construction. And then we'll do Robert Brown, and we'll say that Robert is in diesel. We'll do Jane Smith. We'll say that Jane is in automotive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What else am I missing? We'll make a couple more. So Kent, King, who will be in general education. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That's like 7 of them. Michael White. Missing here. Architecture and manufacturing. Betty King, who will be in, I forgot what I just said, manufacturing. All right. So those are going to be our employees, or our instructors, I should say. So let's go back into here, and into here, into here, and just add all 10 of these. Okay, now I'm looking here just to make sure I didn't, there, I see I forgot a tick, there I forgot a tick, and there, and there, and there. Now it's all red, which typically means it's okay. So let's see if we can, okay. All right, what didn't it like? Well, pretty obvious what it didn't like. It says 13 rows were inserted. I don't want any of them in there. Okay? Because we didn't put down the department number. So even though it worked, we're going to remove all these anyway. So I'm going to do a delete from instructors. Tell it to run. You really want to delete them all? Yes, I do. All right. So I screwed up here. let's go grab from the departments table. We've got this. So I'm going to grab all of this here, right there. Copy it. Come back over to here. And let's make this smaller. All right, now let's bring this in. Okay. So general education is a 1. That was our gen ed instructor. Electrical is a 2. Information technology is a 3. Application and website development is a 4. All right. Construction is an 8 and manufacturing is a 9. Automotive is a 5 and architecture is a 6. All right. Plumbing is a 7. Diesel is a 10. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That looks good to me. Again, we don't need the ID here. You don't need those ticks. Putting those ticks in there doesn't hurt anything, but you just don't see it in there real often unless it's something the system has written. All right, what did I miss? Okay, it looks like it's all okay right now. Oh, doesn't like something. Do not want to come after the last one. There we go. All right, now click go. All right, now let's put those in. I've got 14 rows in there. How do I know that the stuff is in there and it's in there correctly? I can go in and tell it, go to my SQL here, show the query box. Oops, don't want that. And I can say select star from instructors. All right, and there are my 14 instructors. Okay, so what I have just shown you, took a lot longer than I'd hoped, but was how to go in there and how to create a database, how to create tables in the database. I first created what's called their schema, which means the fields they're going to have, the types and the sizes, and any constraints, whether they allowed nulls or didn't allow nulls, etc. All right. So we created the database. We created two tables that were empty, an instructors table and a departments table with their schema. Then we added data to first the departments table, then, okay, to the instructors table. Now, what I want you to notice is there's a department number here. All right. And if I select star from the other table from departments, all right, and I run that, even though it's called ID, it's the same field. All right, I'm just going to leave you with this because I must be running up on time already. Yes, I am. All right, and that is, I'm going to come here to SQL. What I want, let's imagine that my boss comes in and says, I want you to create for me a listing of each employee and the department they work for. Well, I can say I can do this. Select star from instructors, right? And I run that, and the boss looks at it and goes, no, I don't want these numbers. I want the department name. So I've got to grab information from two different tables. All right, so I'm going to say this. Select first name, last name, department name from, now I want it from both tables. All right, so I'm going to say from, and I'll give it the first table, which was instructors. And I'm going to say inner join department. What did I call that? Doggone it. Inner join ID on, and I want to give it the other name, so departments. This is going to be the wrong syntax, I can already tell. Instructors dot ID equals departments dot ID. And I don't want instructors dot ID. I want instructors dot department name, which is a real terrible name for this. I don't think this will work. Well, I'm not disappointed. Rankin.id does not exist. I want the first name. Well, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, from instructors, comma, departments, where instructors dot department number equals departments dot ID. All right. So I want to combine information from two different tables. Did it work? There you go. So I grab the first name and the last name from the instructors table. I grab the department name from the departments table. All right. And if I wanted to, okay, I could even say order by last, well, I want to order by, let's see, department number let's say in descending order. And then for each one of those, I want it by last name in ascending order. And then if they're still matches, first name. Why did I do that? To show you. Now notice I've got all my people together, and they're together by the department in which they work. Still didn't give me exactly what I was looking for in here. So order by department number. Oh, let's make that in ascending order. Well, we don't even need anything then. So notice they are in order. That was number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. If I don't want them in order like that, if I want them in order based on the actual name of the department, okay, then what I could have done is I could have said here, do it by department name. And if I do that, you'll notice again how it looks different. All right. All I'm trying to show you in here is how you can put information into a database and get information out of a database. All right. In the next version, or the next part of this particular chapter, I'm going to go in and I am going to attempt to go through this entire document here, this 22-page document, all right, that I've got. All right, so I'll be back with that shortly.